ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله صلوات ربي وسلامه عليه أما بعد. Do we have a chairman for today's gathering? Okay. So you are all chairmen and chairwomen. Alhamdulillah. So I'm just trying to observe the usual protocol. Let me begin by recognizing my host, the organizers of today's event. I may not know all of them, but I think our sister Kauthar should be here. She was actually the first one to extend the invitation to the program to me when we met at the African Islamic Finance and Takaful Conference just about 3 months ago, also here in Lagos. I know it's a team that has put up this program: Abdul Salam, Abdul Basit, Abdul Fattah Morakinyo. Abdul Fattah, where are you? I could not even recognize you again yesterday. So until when you sent a message to me subsequently, and I saw your name on my phone, it's something that I derive joy from, to see all of you doing fantastically well. I knew almost all of them as students, as 100 level, 200 level, 300 level students. So seeing them doing well in their different areas of practice is something that I derive personally. I derive joy and satisfaction in saying that. And I pray that Almighty Allah continue to strengthen all of you and to move you higher and higher in your choosing careers. Having recognized my audience, let me also recognize my co-speaker today, in person of Brother Brother Tokwe Salahuddin. I understand my brother Abdul Kabir is on his way, Al-Asfar. We spoke about 48 hours ago, but unfortunately I did not remember to tell him that I was around since yesterday. And permit me, as a duty that I must discharge, I have one of my senior brothers in the family here in attendance. I didn't tell him that I will be here, but he was the first to receive me on entering the hall. Please allow me to invite him, if he will accept, to the high table. Al-Hajj Yaqub Bolaji Abdur-Razaaq, the Chief Executive Officer and MD of Yarab Communications. Please, sir, I would like to have you here on the high table. That all my senior brothers are my super supporters. Wherever they land, I'm going to have any program, except if they have committed themselves to any other program. They will make sure they are there, even if I refuse to tell them. I didn't inform him that I was here since yesterday. And now to all of you, I would just say to you all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And I want to be sure, Abdul Salam, once again, Abdul Fattah, the audience, they can now see my screen. Can you testify to that? You know, because I insisted on that. Today's program is not the usual public lecture or wazi that I normally do. And I have my own way of doing different things differently. Today you have invited me to a business seminar, and the best way to do that is to carry you along, so that whatever I'm talking of, you will be able to see on the screen and probably note one or two things, seek clarifications on them after I might have finished talking. So I will still insist on that one. What challenge do you have? Is displaying now? Is showing now? Okay, alhamdulillah. Let me confirm from my audience themselves. Can you see it now? Okay, okay. Ṣé kò tí bright tó báyìí ni wọ́n láwọn ò rí? Ó ti bright tó. Aha. Okay. Okay, it's already 11:30. I think we have to start. So I apologize on behalf of the organizers. They will find ways around solving this issue very soon, I believe. But in order to save our time, let us begin. I have coined the discussion I have with you this morning has been your path to halal fortune. And inshallah ta'ala, I pray that your coming here today will be each and every one of you, members of the audience. It will be your path to halal fortune. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Where is it?
I think he's around.
Sheikh Abdul-Kabir, wherever you are, please come here to the high table. This is your place. Is he in the hall? It's not. So your path to halal fortune, running business and building wealth in the halal way. That is the general theme of today's program. By the way, let me start by asking a question. As a Muslim, why should I bother to build wealth? Why should I feel concerned if I'm not rich? After all, as a Muslim, I know that the primary reason for my existence in this world is just to worship Almighty Allah. There is no doubt about that one. But while I'm observing that one, discharging that duty, should I be concerned at all about building wealth, about running a business as a Muslim whose focus is to earn the satisfaction of Almighty Allah? I know some of you will answer this question in the affirmative, that yes, I think as Muslims we don't need to bother about running businesses, building wealth. It's enough if we worship Almighty Allah and He accepts that from us. But let me tell you that such a question has been answered in a different way by your role model and my role model, the Messenger of Allah, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. On one occasion, ahlan wa sahlan, you are one of my hosts. Yet I arrived at the venue before you, so I think I should penalize him for that one. Alaykum salam. So as I was saying, no matter what your answer to that question will be, I am telling you that our role model, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has actually answered this question more than 1,000 years ago. According to Al-Imam al-Bukhari, Al-Imam al-Bukhari reported, not in his Sahih, but in another work of his, known as Al-Adab al-Mufrad. Imam al-Bukhari has more than one publication, or more than one book. And this particular hadith is equally an authentic hadith, just like the one you find in the Sahih. In this particular hadith, he reported, he documented, the direct reporter or narrator of the hadith is Amr bin al-As, radiyallahu anhu, a very famous companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Amr said, the Prophet once sent for me to come. And when I arrived at his residence, he gave me an instruction. He told me, Ya Amr, inni ab'athuka ala jayshin, fayugnimuka Allah, wa arghabu laka في المال رغبة صالحة وفي رواية أزعب لك في المال زعبة صالحة. قال عمرو قلت يا رسول الله إني لم أسلم رغبة في المال، إني لم أسلم رغبة في المال، وإنما أسلمت رغبة في الإسلام ولأكون مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يا عمرو نعم المال الصالح للعبد الصالح، نعم العبد الصالح، نعم المال الصالح للعبد الصالح. Amr said, the Prophet ﷺ gave me an instruction, and that instruction was very direct, very simple, that he was going to send him on a mission, a jihad mission. And he said, perhaps if I send you, Almighty Allah may use that one to bless you of this worldly wealth. فَيُغْنِمُكَ اللَّهُ. You may gain what we call ganima, spoils or booty of war. And that may transform you from being a poor man to a rich man. Who knows? The Prophet ﷺ was the one telling Amr. But on hearing this, he reacted by saying, me, Ya Rasulullah, inni lam muslim ragbatan fil mal. I did not embrace Islam because I want to become rich. It's not because I need money that made me to accept the message from you. But I only accepted your message. I embrace Islam because I know it is the right way. And I want always to be with you in your company. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I'm not in need of wealth. My intention of being a Muslim is not to build wealth. It's not to do business. Then the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, O Amr, نعم المال الصالح للمرء أو للعبد صالح. How good is it to have a good fortune under the control of a righteous servant of Almighty Allah? Is one of the best things that can happen to you in the world. To be a righteous servant of Almighty Allah, and yet to have fortune, richness, wealth under your control. There is no contradiction between the two. That is the message being passed to us by our role model, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, please, if Allah has given us any capability of building wealth, don't waste it. That is the message. If you know you are talented, you know how to put 1 and 2 together and will become 3. You know how to build wealth. You know how to run businesses. Please don't shy away from so doing. This is the message of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. نعم المال الصالح للعبد الصالح. If you are righteous, and Allah has also blessed you with wealth, with fortune, you will use it in the way that is pleasing to Almighty Allah. So even if you think you are not in need of that money, some people may say, I don't need that money. Please know that the Muslim Ummah is in need of your money. The Muslim Ummah will benefit from your wealth. In fact, as we are witnessing today, you may be the factor that will sustain Islam in some people. The religion is being taken away from people today on account of their poverty. Some people are taking advantage of Muslims' poverty to say, you want to work here, you have to embrace another religion. It's an open secret, everybody knows, especially in this part of the world. So if somebody will have a job opportunity and will make it a condition that you must abandon your al-akhirah before you can achieve dunya, you can say, come, you will achieve dunya in my own business and you will keep your al-akhirah. نعم المال الصالح للعبد الصالح. That was the message as passed for us by our role model, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So please, if you have that impression that I don't need it, but you are blessed with capacity to build it as wealth, as fortune, I'm saying unto you this morning, please have a change in your mindset. Know that you're becoming wealthy, you're becoming rich. It's very important to Islam and Muslims. And one way or the other, Islam and Muslims will benefit from you. The wealth under your control, inshallah, shall only be used for what pleases Almighty Allah. نعم المال الصالح للعبد الصالح. Another question. Let's start projection now. Thank you. Can they see now? Okay, that is the hadith. نعم المال الصالح. What a good fortune that is under the control of a righteous servant of Almighty Allah. And in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Mu'min al-Qawi khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allahi min al-Mu'min al-Da'if. A strong believer, a strong mu'min, is more beloved to Almighty Allah, is better in the sight of Almighty Allah than a weak one. When we are talking of strength, we are talking of power. It's not limited to one single form of power. Today, one of the most important forms of power in today's contemporary life is the economic power. Is the economic power that can be used against the Muslim community and will have a far, far more devastating effect than even using the military force against us. So please let us pay attention to this. If you are strong, if you are powerful economically, you are more beloved to Almighty Allah than someone that is weak economically. because of what you can achieve. Go and read the life history of the likes of Uthman ibn Affan, a companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Uthman had Al-Jannah mainly on account of what he spent of his wealth. It got to a stage that Uthman spent to the satisfaction and admiration of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on an occasion, to the extent that he declared that ma darra Uthman ma fa'ala ba'da al-yawm. Ma darra Uthman ma fa'ala ba'da al-yawm. After what I've seen today of Uthman spending without even looking back, spending generously, whatever he commits after today will never harm him. Even if he has mistakes, even if he has errors, I'm guaranteeing that Uthman is one of the dwellers of Al-Jannah. So you have many things to achieve if you are wealthy. But don't forget, your being wealthy must be accompanied with what? Righteousness. If you are not righteous and you have wealth, that may land you in everlasting punishment of Almighty Allah. Because you will be using your wealth in every way that will not be approved of by Almighty Allah. So we are saying, as the Prophet said, Al-Malu Salihu lil-Abidi as-Salih. Okay, this is the second question by way of introduction. Okay, I've now understood that it's good to be wealthy, it's good to be righteous and be rich at the same time. If Allah chooses for you that one, please know that's part of the blessing of Almighty Allah. But somebody may now say, okay, that means I can go all my way without paying attention to the rules, to the laws that regulate running a business. Why must I care about running a halal business? If Islam wants me to be wealthy, Islam wants me to be rich, then let me go. Let me find any way to become rich. After all, if I become rich, I will start building mosques. I will start sending people on Hajj every year. But leave me alone. Don't tell me halal and haram now until when I get what I want. That one is equally wrong. That one is equally wrong. You know why it is wrong? It's because of a hadith, another hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. According to Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma, he reported from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that each and every one of us, on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, on the day of resurrection, we will be queried. We must answer 5 questions. Nobody can escape answering those questions. لا تزال قدم ابن آدم حتى يسأل عن أربع أو عن خمس. You will be asked 5 questions. And 2 of those questions have to do with your wealth while you are alive. The Prophet ﷺ said, every one of us will be questioned with the query. وَعَنْ مَالِهِ كَيْفَ اكْتَسَبَهُ وَفِيمَا أَنْفَقَهُ. So you should be prepared. While we are encouraging you to run businesses, while we are encouraging you, as encouraged by the Prophet ﷺ, to build halal wealth, you must be mindful of the fact that you are accountable to Almighty Allah. You shall account for every single kobo, every single naira that you accumulate in your business. You will be asked that question, how did you get your wealth? And another one is, how did you spend that wealth? Did you use it in the way that is pleasing to Allah or in the other way around? So this is why it is impossible to have a seminar like this. That we are not as Muslims. We must be different. You must not be thinking as a non-Muslim that has no barriers to everything. That is only looking at what will benefit him materially. Whether that is pleasing to Almighty Allah or not, whether that is acceptable to Almighty Allah or not, he doesn't care. A Muslim should not think that way. Because of the fact that you know that you are going to be asked, how did you get that money? And in what way did you spend the money you had while you were alive? So, of his wealth, how did he acquire the wealth, and how has he spent it? This one was reported by Al-Imam al-Tirmidhi and is equally authentic. Every hadith we shall be quoting here today, I can assure you they are all authentic hadith. We will not come here and be telling you hadith is da'if just because we want you to build business. We won't do that, inshallah. So it's another authentic hadith reported, documented by Al-Imam al-Tirmidhi. I think I have 3 questions. This is the last one. This is the last one. Can you see my question? Can anybody read it? I want to be sure you can see it. Who will volunteer? I want a volunteer. You know, I told you today is not a normal Professor Alaro in Wasi that you know. So I will be asking you questions. I'm seeing myself as being in a lecture room now. So can anybody volunteer to read the question? Thank you. Abdul Fattah.
Is halal business ubiquitous and halal
a reality? Is haram business ubiquitous and halal a reality? Because this is what is in the mind of majority of people, especially Nigerians. Especially Nigerians. That haram is everywhere. It's only when you are looking for halal that you will have to labor before you see, and you may not even find one easily. That all over the place, everything is haram. I witnessed a conversation between two persons one day. One of them was telling the other that, what do you mean by halal? In this Nigeria, you will wait for halal? You better quickly take haram if you see. And that man was saying, fear Almighty Allah. Be mindful of what we are saying. Allah cannot say don't take haram, and will not make halal available for you. Then the man asked him a question that one couldn't answer. He said, okay, tell me, give me 10 examples of people who are very rich. That's how he said it. People who are very rich and their source of wealth is halal. The man kept quiet. Then he reduced the number. He said, okay, give me 5. It's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. He kept on reducing the numbers. Okay, give me 1. And that man could not even give him one example. But that is creating a wrong impression. Is actually creating a very wrong impression. Again, Allah will not say don't take haram, don't consume haram, and at the same time will not make halal available or accessible to you. Allah wa sallam. Allah wa sallam. It runs contrary to the sunnah of Almighty Allah on earth. He will never say don't go this way and block all other ways for you. It's impossible. So if you have this one in your head too, please have a rethink of that wrong impression from today. It is not true. In fact, I see it as another way of receiving revelations from Shaitan. You know, Shaitan has a way of revealing to his people. Don't you know? Allah said it in Al-Quran Al-Kareem. وَإِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ لَيُوحُونَ وَإِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ لَيُوحُونَ إِلَىٰ أَوْلِيَائِهِمْ لِيُجَادِلُوكُمْ. Shaitan has a way of revealing what he will use in arguing against you. He has a way of revealing to his allies, to his people. Now, this is one of those revelations I'm telling you. Anybody that will tell you that is very difficult. In fact, it's almost impossible to find halal sources if you want to be very rich. Haram is everywhere, it's widespread, it's ubiquitous. This is a revelation from Shaitan. Just like the other revelation that most of you or some of you might have had. Shaitan has a way of revealing to his people. You have to be careful when they are spreading those revelations to you. You know, when an injunction came during the time of the Prophet ﷺ that for any animal, for meat coming from any animal to be halal, such an animal must first be slaughtered. And Shaitan revealed to his people one way of arguing against the injunction of Almighty Allah. Do you know what they were saying to Muslims of that era? تأكلون ما قتلتم وتحرمون ما قتله الله. تأكلون تحلون ما قتلتم وتحرمون ما قتله الله. It sounds logical, but it's satanic. Something may be logical and at the same time be devilish and satanic. You must be careful. Look at what they said. They said, okay, so that one that you slaughtered, who killed it? Said, me, I killed it. And that one that died without being slaughtered, who killed it? I said, God. God killed it. Said, hey. So what you killed is halal. And what Allah killed is haram. That's another revelation of Shaitan. We must rescue ourselves from him. Shaitan is very dangerous. He will give you something that will look sensible, logical. But it's total devil. It's total evil. It's devilish. It's satanic. So this is another form of those revelations coming from Shaitan. If anybody tells you that, no, it's haram that you can find, it's difficult. It's very rare. In this environment, though, some people will say, unless if you go to Macau, but in this Nigeria, please say no. And give them that line of argument. It's impossible that Allah will say, don't go this area, and will block all other avenues and other areas for you. No, he won't do that. He is Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, the most merciful God. This one is not moving again. And if you are talking of revelations of Satan, if you don't know of any, you must know the grand deceit by Shaitan that landed all of us here. You know we are supposed to be in Al-Jannah by now. You know why we are here now, don't you know? That we are here is another form of satanic revelation. Look at what he did to our forefather, our originator, Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. If you have not understood what we call revelations of Shaitan, at least reflect on that story that you have had. You must have had more than once. Adam was living peacefully with his wife in Al-Jannah. Then all of a sudden, Satan appeared. As Shaitan appeared. When Allah said, وَيَا آدَمُ اسْكُنْ أَنْتَ وَزَوْجُكَ الْجَنَّةِ فَكُلَا مِنْ حَيْثُ شِئْتُمَا وَلَا تَقْرَبَا هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةِ فَتَكُونَا مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ فَوَسْوَسَ لَهُمَا الشَّيْطَانُ لِيُبْدِيَ لَهُمَا مَا وُورِيَ عَنْهُمَا مِنْ سَوْآتِهِمَا وَقَالَ مَا نَهَاكُمَا رَبُّكُمَا عَنْ هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةِ إِلَّا أَن تَكُونَا مَلَكَيْنِ. He will entice you. He will tell you what will be very, very attractive to you. Here, let me quickly translate that one to you. Allah said to our father Adam and Hawa that in this garden, you know, in a garden, how many trees will you find in a garden? One tree. Does that, in Yoruba proverb, they say one tree does not make a forest. And the one tree cannot make a garden. You must definitely find plenty trees in a garden. Many trees in a garden. That's exactly. Especially you are talking of a garden whose breadth alone, arduha as-samawatu wal-ard, is as wide as the whole heavens and the earth. That is Al-Jannah. For someone to be in such a place and be given free and open access anytime, anyhow, eat from any tree in this garden, but do not approach just one single tree. Don't approach only one out of many trees. Then Shaitan came and said, do you know why God has prohibited that single tree for you? He doesn't want you to become an angel. He doesn't want you to become immortal. The moment you eat from that, you become an angel. And you become immortal. You will never die again. It was a lie. Oh. And it was that lie and deceit that landed all of us here in the world. So please be mindful. Always tell yourself that Shaitan is here to mislead you and not to guide you. Don't ever take Shaitan as your special advisor. You know some people are doing that. Their special advisor is Shaitan. Even after listening to a lecture, while he at lecture, he will look sober. He will look very serious. But the moment he gets out of that lecture, Shaitan will start working. And the first thing he will tell him is, even that man, even the last one, cannot do what he's saying. Even that Professor Alaro don't mind him. That's Shaitan has so many ways of trying to mislead you. So please let us try to rescue ourselves. It is untrue. It's a false. It's a false narrative. If anybody tells you it's only haram that you will find, it's very difficult to get haram, to get halal. That is not true. That is not true. Now, flowing directly from this last verse that we have just recited, and that is the old truth, nothing but the truth. Halal is always bigger, greater in number than haram. Take it for granted. Every time, every day, every age, the sunnah of Almighty Allah has always been that halal will be far more in number than haram. It only requires from you to think, to be creative enough, to be able to locate where your halal means halal sources are. But get it right. Almighty Allah has given us more than enough reason to see it clearly that always the halal is greater, is bigger in number than whatever you think is haram that is accessible to you. I will give you a proof on that from Al-Quran itself. There is a verse in Al-Quran where Almighty Allah says, قُلْ تَعَالَوْا أَتْلُ مَا حَرَّمَ قُلْ تَعَالَوْا أَتْلُ مَا حَرَّمَ رَبُّكُمْ عَلَيْكُمْ. O Prophet, invite them, say, come, let me list to you, let me enumerate for you what Allah has made haram, what Allah has prohibited. What do you list? Is it what is countable or what is uncountable? If you can list something, that means it's limited. Allah says in Al-Quran Al-Karim, there is no way you will find where Allah told the Prophet to list and enumerate halal. But he commanded him to list and enumerate haram because they are limited, because they are countable. And in a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, because this is very fundamental, unless you are able to shape your mind to help you to have that change in your thinking, whatever we see here will be meaningless. If you continue to think that haram is what is available, there is no halal. Halal is very limited. Those who are doing good in business, they have already taken all the halal. No more halal for me. That's untrue. It's a satanic revelation. And that is why I'm emphasizing this, giving you proof from Al-Quran Al-Karim. I will give you one more proof from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, just to tell you that always what Allah prohibits is far, far less in number when compared to what He allows. During the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a man wanted to perform pilgrimage, either Hajj or Umrah, and came to ask the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam this question. Look at the question. Ma yalbisul muhrim. Ya Rasulullah, ma yalbisul muhrim. Prophet, I want to go on pilgrimage. Please tell me, what are those things that are permissible, that is halal, that are permissible for a pilgrim to wear? Ma yalbisu al-muhrim. And when the Prophet ﷺ answered him, the Prophet ﷺ, that was taught by the best teacher, and that is why he was blessed with that ability of even knowing what will benefit the questioner better than what he has uttered. The Prophet knew well that what Allah has allowed you to wear while on Hajj are greater in number than what he has restricted you not to wear. So why must you trouble yourself going after what are uncountable? What is uncountable? You can never exhaust them. But what of if you have just known what is just prohibited and avoid those prohibited items that are limited in number? And that's exactly the way he answered him. Instead of telling him, you know, the man asked, what can I wear? And he answered by saying, this is what you should not wear. What is he telling us? That halal is always greater and bigger in number than haram. He only mentioned to him that la yalbisu, a pilgrim must not wear this, must not wear this. He listed it to him. They are countable. They are few in number. If you have successively avoided those items that are prohibited, then you can wear any other thing among what is halal that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has permitted you to wear. So this is the foundation I am just trying to lay. That have that change in your thinking. Halal is all over the place. And halal means and sources of wealth are even greater and bigger in number than the haram. But unfortunately, just like Shaitan did, he will make that little haram to be more attractive to you. Make you think as if they are the only opportunities that are available for you. You have to rescue yourself from him. It's your enemy. Do you know how Allah calls Shaitan in Al-Quran? Aduwwun Mubin. You know, you may have an enemy that will pretend to be a friend. Shaitan is not like that. He's an open enemy. He's an open enemy to children of Adam. He doesn't hide it. That I don't want you to succeed. That is the message. That is the mission of Shaitan on earth. That is why you have to use some point you to rescue yourself from his cause. So, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, this same notion is what we are going to apply to how you run your business in the halal way. Simple as that. What is that notion? What is that principle? That what Allah allows me to do in terms of business, in terms of commerce, in terms of financial transactions are far, far more in number than what he has prohibited me not to do. And we have a principle in Sharia, you can now see, that principle can be projected now, that says this very, very clearly. What is that principle in Sharia? Al-aslu fil mu'amalati al-ibaha. Meaning, in any matter of business, in any commercial or financial transaction, there shall be original presumption of permissibility. That is Islam. It is different from when we are talking of ibadat. When we are talking of how to worship Almighty Allah, the opposite is the case. Al-aslu fil ibadati al-hadhiru. The rule in how you worship Almighty Allah is that wait until you are told how to worship. But you don't need to even wait for an instruction. You don't need to wait for an ayah from Al-Quran. You don't need to wait for a hadith. There's no bigger in business. Let me put it that way. Did you hear me? Loud and clear. There is no bid'ah in business. You can start a business today that was never known to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and nobody, Allah will not punish you for that. Because al-aslu fil mu'amalati al-ibaha. All what you need to be careful of is what we are going to list for you. These are the prohibited items that in the way you run your business, in an attempt to build wealth, these are no-go areas. And they are like one tree in a forest, or one tree in a garden that is as wide as the entire heaven and earth. So please note this. In Islam, you are free to be creative in business. You are free to bring new things in terms of commerce. Innovation, creativity is allowed, is encouraged. Only what you need to be careful of is what are those limited, prohibited things that in whatever way I will distance my business from them. And you know the beauty of what we are saying. Even if I mention those prohibited items for you now, and you discover that some business that you have been doing, a business or another, that perhaps you have been doing before coming to today's program, has one or more element of these prohibited items, you don't need to even abandon your business. You understand that? All what you need to do is to remove that prohibited element. Be creative enough to say, okay, so this is what will give me trouble. This is what is going to be a problem in my attempt to build wealth. Then I should find a way of just removing it. When you remove it, continue to do your business. Restructuring, thank you. You just have to restructure. There is room for restructuring a haram business to become what? Halal. It's part of the beauty of Islam. So let's now go to the prohibited items. I will tell you those items in simple terms, and if you avoid them, go and bring any form of business that was never known to even the first generation of Muslims. It's allowed. Again, there is no bid'ah in business. What are those items? Can you see? Can you see the screen now? How many? Only 4. Yes, only 4. You don't need even to consult Sheikh Al-Asfar on your business. You can be a consultant, Sharia consultant for yourself. Just make sure that you do not go near any of these 4. Simple. Sorry, Malam Al-Asfar. But that's the truth. If you are able to avoid, to stay away from these 4 items, you are free to innovate, to create any way of doing your business and running your business and doing your financial or commercial transactions. The first one is riba. The second one, I've deliberately given the Sharia terms. We are going to explain them one after the other. Riba, gharar, maisir, and haram itself. You don't deal in haram products. Whatever way of doing business, the subject matter of your business must not be a prohibited item. No matter how you try to package it, don't go and say, I want to trade in pig, in pork. I want to trade in alcohol. That's a no-go area. That is what we meant by haram. So now let us go one after the other by trying to explain in the remaining time that we have. When are we supposed to end this session? The organizers. 12:45. So we have 30 minutes. 30 minutes is more than enough. If you need further clarification, that is why you will now need to consult Al-Asfar. So, but if you are able to get it all in this gathering, you are free. Riba. Because of our time, you can note those references. You can go on your own to check them in Al-Quran Al-Karim. Riba interest is a no-go area for you as a Muslim. It's a very serious offense. It's a grave sin in the sight of Almighty Allah. But by the way, what do we call, what is riba? Because I hear in this part of the world, in our Yoruba language, sometimes they will be describing bribery as riba. Bribery is not riba, it's another thing. It's also prohibited though. But we need to understand what is riba, interest. In a simple language. Riba is wherever you stand to gain without contributing in a way to the real economic activity that begot that gain. Let me come again. Simple. Any way that you structure your business in the way that at the end of the day you will lay claim to any amount as your profit, as your gain, as your dividend. But in the real sense, you have never participated in the real economic or commercial activity that is behind the making of that return. Put differently, wherever you want to gain without being liable in a way. Any way you structure your business that will give you always a return, an income, but you will find a way of shielding yourself completely from any possibility of loss. We will tell you what you do. That Sharia allows you to manage. You don't want to get lost, you manage it. That is what we call risk management. There is risk management in Islam. Inshallah, we will talk on that one briefly today. You are allowed to manage, but you are not allowed to totally shield yourself against liability. In fact, the only license you have to profit or return is to be liable. Wherever you are not liable, you are not entitled to any gain. You are not entitled to any profit. And to make it clearer, I told you can check on your own. This is the ayah where Allah categorically prohibited riba. Surah Al-Baqarah, it starts from 275, 276, up to 279, about 4 or 5 verses, all talking about the prohibition of riba. And I've mentioned a hadith. I think the organizer, you will make this presentation available to them. You will read on your own so that we can save our time. What I want to do now, let's leave this one also because of our time. I said, you know, it's not difficult for people to know what is clear riba. If I give someone an amount of money now by way of loaning him, and I stipulate as a condition that whenever you are paying back, you pay me 10%, will any Muslim doubt want to be a haram? That is what we call pure riba. But the danger you may face as a business owner, as somebody that we are encouraging to start building wealth, is what I call modern instrument of riba. That you may be engaging in riba, in interest unknowingly. And ignorance is not an excuse for breaking any law, including Sharia. You have to seek knowledge. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Unless if there is no opportunity for you to know, that is when you can be excused. But where there is an opportunity for you to learn, to ask questions, and this environment of ours, that excuse is non-existent. In every community you have those whom you can ask if you do not know. So the modern instruments of riba, I regard them as being far, far more critical when we are talking of building business in the contemporary world. I don't want to waste any time here by telling you the clear-cut riba transactions, one of which I've given an example of it now. When you loan in any way, even if it is doing business. Some people will say, at least he took my money to do business. If I have a share of whatever he gains, what is wrong in that one? It's wrong, go. Why is it wrong? did you participate in the activity that birthed the profit? If you want to have part of that gain, be part of the activity. Make yourself available for loss if there is any, and that will surely entitle you to profit or gain. Now, let us quickly look at some of the modern instruments of riba. You know here, can you see the screen? What did I call it in bracket? Riba windows. I picked this one from an incident that happened as a student in Islamic University in Medina as a postgraduate student in 1999. You know, 1999 marked what they call the reintroduction of democracy in Nigeria, when we started having civilian authority to rule us after many years of military administration. And my sheikh, I'm happy the person that read my citation recognized my sheikh. I am so happy. I like this kind of citation. People will be saying that Alaro achieved that. People, they will forget those who Allah used for us to achieve all those things. It's unfair to them. So my Sheikh Abdullah Jibril Imam Sahban, Hafidahullah Ta'ala, was the one who sent me even to Islamic Medina, Islamic University of Medina, gave me scholarship free of charge. He frequently visited Medina. He was a friend to many of our teachers. And in this year I was with him when he visited the registrar of the university, who was a very close friend of his. He's now late. Our Sheikh Zurban, Muhammad ibn Abdullah Zurban al-Ghamidi rahimahullah. We were in his office. And as friends, he would be asking of Nigeria. Sheikh Zurban also frequently visited Nigeria. In fact, he was known in Medina then as father of Nigerians. So he was asking, Sheikh, oh, I like to now have a new president. And my Sheikh said, yes. In fact, he's a civilian president, not a military president. Oh, did I know him? Of all the time I visited Nigeria, have I ever met him? Sheikh said, you might not have met him because he was a military head of state in the 1976 to 1980. Okay. So they were talking. Again, he asked him of Kwara State. You also have a new civilian head. The Sheikh said, yes, proudly. Now we have a civilian governor in Kwara State. He said, what's the name? And my Sheikh said, Rear Admiral Muhammad Lawal Alabinawal. And the registrar said, look, Sheikh Abdullah, I can't understand you people. What are you celebrating? And this is where I got the one window. He said, you chase military men away from the door. Are you saying you are opening windows for them to jump in? I asked you of your president, he said he was a former military head of state. I asked you of your governor, he said he's a rear admiral, who was also Ibon. Our governor was Ibon before then, was a military governor in Ogun State. And he said, why are you wasting your time? Why are you disturbing yourself? If you want them, let them remain. But ask them to go, you open the door for them, and quickly open the window for them to jump in. My dear brothers and sisters, what I want to use that one for is that as ulama are struggling to close doors of riba, there are people working day and night on opening what? Windows of riba. Day and night. They are closing riba transactions, giving them different names that I will mention some of them to you now. That if you do not know while building your wealth, while running your business, you may fall victim of any of these instruments. They are as bad as the original, as the very clear-cut riba transaction. It's just name changing. It's just coming through the window and avoiding entering through the door. So please go and know that whether you access riba through the door or you access riba through the window, the result is one. Oh, there is no difference. So these are the riba windows. Interest yielding bank account. Under whatever name, if you should have an account that they will be sending you an alert, whether on agreement or no agreement, Because some people would say, I didn't ask them to pay me. I only opened an account. Al-Aswar will tell you, in Sharia, we have a principle that says, Al-Ma'rufu urufan kal-mashruti sharta. Anything that has become customarily known, that is the practice, you don't need to state it as a condition. Whether you utter it, whether you say it or not, you know that if you go to any bank and open savings account, they will have something for you as interest, whether you ask for it or not. It's not an issue that after I didn't sign an agreement for them with them. So please, quickly, this is one way of unknowingly getting into riba arena through a window, and you must avoid it, even in your business. Avoid anyway, they will come. They are also looking for people to access their facilities. That, oh, we know how to package it, we want to help you in your business. Tell them, I cannot take anything that is interest-based. Interest is riba. There is no difference between interest and riba as far as the Sharia of Islam is concerned. Conventional debt instrument. I know some of you are engaging in this. I've seen people asking me questions on this area. That is why I jotted them. There is something they call bond. There's another one they call treasury bill. There is a third one they call certificate of deposit. They are all riba windows. What is bond? It's like a company, or you yourself as an owner of business, you want to expand your business. It's a way of going to the public and say, give me your money to use in my business. But bond means I don't want to know what you are going to use the money for. Again, remember the definition of riba. Not participating in the real activity that gives rise to any income or return that you want to claim. That is exactly what bonds mean. If a company issues bonds, it is telling you that loan me that amount of money and I will simplify that. I will document that by giving you the bond certificate. And with every bond certificate, there is what they call coupon rate that they will be paying. At the end of the day, they will repay what you have advanced to them, but after every 6 months, according to your agreement, you will be earning something, and you'll be happy that, oh, after all, they are doing business, and this is my own share of business. But tomorrow when they lose, you don't want to be killed. It doesn't concern you. That means you are not entitled. So please, wherever you hear of bonds as a Muslim, know that is a form, is a window to riba. The same thing, it works in the same way, treasury bill, but it's slightly different. You know, when they give you a bond of, let's say, 1 million naira, or even 1,000 or 10,000 naira, it may be as small as that, it will be written, it's 10,000, 10,000. But they will pay you a dividend or coupon rate after every interval of time. But treasury bill, look at how Shaitan can deceive you. Treasury bill, they will never pay you any interest. They don't pay interest in treasury bill. But they will issue it at discount. They will issue it at discount. What do we mean by that? They will write 1 million on your treasury bill. But when you are paying for it, they will say you only pay 900,000. Well, we don't pay interest, no, we don't pay interest. Yes, we don't pay interest. We don't pay interest. But you have a document that says they are indebted to you to the tune of 1 million naira, while only what you pay them is 900,000. At the end of the day, how much are you getting? 900 plus 100. That 100 is a riba window. Is a riba window. Please get it right. Central bank and other authorities may issue treasury bill, and I know a lot of Muslims are buying this, thinking that because it doesn't attract interest. It attracts interest not from the door, but through a... And the same thing, certificate of deposit is similar to treasury bill, but only that they are issued by commercial banks. A commercial bank can also issue deposit certificate for you, either work in the way of bond or work in the way of treasury bill. Either way, know that that is a way of getting into riba through the window. Aha. Discounting. We mentioned discount now. Let's go into more details of that one. Some people may have commercial papers, bills of exchange. Maybe you did a business with a company, an international company, or even a local company. Or even let's say you are holding this bond certificate. Anything that will indicate that a third party has a debt obligation to pay you. But when is he paying you? He said it will mature, like the issue of treasury bill, the issue of a bond or whatever, will mature in 6 months. Today you need money. We have houses that they call discount houses. That you can just take that document to them, that this 1 million naira will be due in May or June 2024. But I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I'm ready. I need money now. What they do is that, okay, how much is written on it? 1 million, but we will give you 900 or 950,000. And you'll be happy. You give me quickly. That is another window to riba. Is another way of practicing riba that Allah has prohibited. Here I said thrift contribution, discounting thrift contribution. You know thrift? Ajo. Somebody called me one day and narrated to me what they do even in Ajo. That amounts to clear riba. That is similar to discounting commercial papers. How do they do it? Someone is contributing 10,000 naira every month. And maybe they are in a group of people that they are rotating the benefit. That when you collect this month, another party will take next month. This gentleman knows that his own turn will be in the next 10 months. Maybe in January, he contributed in January, contributed in February, but he's working towards what? Working towards October. That is when it will be his turn to be the beneficiary and now probably collect, if it's contributing 10,000, will now take 100,000 or more or less. Now, along the line, is unable to continue. By June, by May, is unable to continue. They will advertise. If anybody, they call it Ota Ajo. Is anybody ready to buy his Ajo? Anybody that is buying will buy it on discount. They will now look at it. Oh, how many months have you contributed? 6 months. That will be 60,000 naira. If it is 10,000 naira. You can only sell your Ajo at most for 50,000 naira. Sometimes for 40,000. That happens. I'm telling you. It happens. Those who are practicing it contacted me, asked me, and that is why I also got to know of the practice. It's a practice that is even widespread in this our communities. They call it Ota Ajo. Please know that selling a trip, selling your Ajo is a window to riba. I have about 9 examples, but let's move quickly. Rescheduling the debt, that one should be very clear. When you have an obligation to pay your debt in a particular time, at a particular time, and when it is time to pay, you are unable to pay. There is a way of telling you we can reschedule your debt. Reschedule your debt means you move from paying simple interest to compound interest. And every Nigerian, more than any other citizen of any other country, who must understand this better. You must understand this better because we were told by our former president, President Olusegun Obasanjo, around 2002 or thereabout, when he cried out that if you ask me what the worst thing in the world is, Obasanjo said, I will say it in this compound interest. What happened? He said, I looked at the record. We only took 5 billion naira as our total loan as at then, as Nigeria as a nation. We took maximum $5 billion. I also checked the record of repayment. I realized we have already paid $16 billion. And they are still telling us you still hold $28 billion. It's only possible when your interest is moving from simple to compound. You must pay in 10 years. They can reschedule it for you to 20 years. They can reschedule for you for 40 years. But that means whatever you owe will be increasing, ever increasing, and increasing in a very big, with a very big margin. And that is why it was easy for 5 to become 16 plus 28. Mathematician, what's the total of that one? 44 billion. That's compound interest for you. If Allah says don't go there, it's for your own good. You can never harm him. Allah does not have any business that you will destroy. But you can destroy yourself and destroy a nation. So that is what is called debt rescheduling. Please don't ever go near that area. If at all, what Quran asks us to do is to show leniency, is to show concern. If your debtor is unable to pay, Quran says, فَنَذِرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ. Ask him when it will be easier for him to pay and reschedule without charging any amount of interest. That is acceptable. I know some of you do overdraft. When you have a good business relationship with a bank, they always advertise, they market it, it's a product they usually market. That after all, when your money comes, it will be with us. Now you don't have money, don't worry, write check, we will honor it. You know your check has gone red, your account has gone red, but your bank will continue to honor your checks because you have already agreed with them to have what they call overdraft facility. You are over-earning. You are overdrawing from your account, but that doesn't go without a cost. Overdraft facility doesn't go without a cost. If you don't know, go and check your statement of account today. If you are doing overdraft, whatever they give you, they are advancing it for you as a loan that is that on which interest is chargeable. So when you don't have any money in your account, yet you issued a check of 100,000, it was honored. Another of 200,000, it was honored. That by the time the money comes into your account, you'll just take it. They won't take only 100,000. They will never take only 200,000. Overdraft facility is always has interest element embedded in it. And that is why it's also another modern instrument. Repo. I'm mentioning all this because when you are doing good business, they will come and market them to you. So you need to know from now. They are all forms of riba, windows of riba. Repo means if you don't need money, if you don't have money in business, and you have an asset, especially liquid asset, you have shares in a company. You have shares in a company. There is an arrangement for you to say, Company B and Company A were in the same line of business. Let me sell my shares to you, but with a condition that you must resell it back to me. It may be for just a period of 24 hours. It's a short time instrument. It may be for 3 days, it may be for 1 week. So what they are saying is that I will give you my shares and you will continue to benefit from my shares of 1 million, for example. But the moment I give you back 1 million, you have a duty of selling it back to me. But what of the dividend and returns that you have accumulated during that period? That is another way, is an indirect way of advancing money and charging interest indirectly. That is why repo is also a window of riba. And another very clear window of riba is what is called bay'ul 'ayna. But this was practiced as far back as the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How can we demonstrate that one now? It's a very satanic way of practicing riba. That you will come, let me use myself and Brother Prof Salahuddin. I will come to you. I may even tell you the same car. You see me in my car, that I want to sell my car to you. You will be wondering, what will you use to go? But don't worry. I'm ready to sell my car to you. But based on Aina. Aina means buy or sell back. All what I need is money. And by the time I tell you, I will sell my car at 1 million. Sell you my car at 1 million. And you will give me the 1 million. But instantly, you don't go and come back. Aina means instantly, Brother Prof will sell the same car to me. And that was my intention originally. In fact, some of them will sell the roof of their house. Some of them will sell their office, the office space. Because the intention was never to part with ownership of that asset. It's just to find a way around riba. So I sell to you my car at 1 million, but instantly I will rebuy. You will resell the same car. But mind you now, by the time I was selling to you, you had cash. You can pay instantly, isn't it? But I am in need of money. That is why I approach you. So if you sell to me now, I don't have money to pay you. I will have to defer my own payment. You now say, okay, if you are not paying now, I will sell it at 1.1 million. Because you are not, it seems to be making sense. Because you are not paying now. Thank you. Barakallahu fi. So you will sell it back to me, the same vehicle now, at 1.1 million that will be payable in the next 6 months. What really happened, in the real sense, is that I have gotten a loan of 1 million and I have the duty of paying 1.1 million when I repay. The same car, I may even remain, we may conclude all the transactions inside the same car. We will conclude everything inside the same car because we never intended to part away with the car. Yes. Immediately, instantly, is another window to riba that if they advertise that, they market that, so you please avoid it. There is what we call organized tawarruf, but let's leave that one. Do we have bankers here? But this is done in banks generally. It's only when we are addressing bankers. Finally, before we move, we want to address 4 prohibited items. We are still on 1. But these are very important because you will not know that what you are doing is riba. You will be thinking that you have avoided riba successfully. If you own shares, at times they may come and say, we want to go public. A company wants to go public and want to sell shares. If you know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of what we have mentioned above, that amount to riba, if you know that a company is in that business of riba, when you buy shares of that company, you are also participating in riba transaction. So if you want to buy shares of a company, be sure that the company at least does not have its main line of activity, main line of business, any of the above mentioned ways of perpetrating riba. Number 10, this is very important for a gathering like this. A lot of people will tell me, I am in a contract with a brother, or a brother will introduce himself to a group of people to say, I'm good in so. If you give me your money, I will be the one to manage it for you. But we will have an agreement. Every month, I will pay you 10,000. Every month, I will pay you 20,000. Do you know how that becomes a form of riba? It's because of the definition we said. How can he guarantee that he will make 10,000 every month? How does he guarantee that one? He could make 10, he could make 15, he could make 9, he could make 8. But by the moment you are going into such an agreement to say every month you get 10,000, and I know a lot of Muslims are doing that. What we should have done is to say, let us do mudaraba that is acceptable in Sharia. The same way, you use our money to run business, whatever you get at the end of the month, this is our ratio of distribution of that profit. You take 50%, I take 50%. If you like, do it 30-70. Sharia does not tell you the way to do it. That is part of what we say, the permissible acts in business are far, far greater in number. Sharia does not even go to the extent of telling you you must share it 50-50, 40-60, 90-10. Just make sure that you agree, that you all, both of you consent to that formula of distribution. So please, if you are into that kind of business, try to restructure to be Sharia compliant. What is Sharia compliant is to say, we will share whatever, 9 this month, 11 next one, 5 the other one, whatever is our profit, we will share it using this ratio of distribution. That will be acceptable. Okay. Now, garar, the second element. Garar simply means uncertainty. You must also avoid uncertainty in your business dealings. And I want to give some example. I think we are already out of time. Let's quickly. Because I know the clear garar may be known to so many people. The problem is those who are busy inventing windows to haram and encouraging Muslims to avoid the door and just come through a window. This is one window of garar. Factoring. What do they call factoring? In business, if you are selling on credit, you will have what we call receivables. Receivables means debt that is due to you, but they are not payable instantly. So factoring is to gather your receipts or your invoices rather. You gather your invoices and you take it to a factorer who will assume all the risks, take them from you, and go after your debtors when it is time. But by the time it's taken from you, he must take at discount. He must take on discount. So if you present an invoice of 1 million, he will pay you 950 and taking a risk whether he will be able to get that 1 million from your debtor or not. Another example of modern day garar is what they call upfront sale of cash flow. A good example is when you have, maybe you have a place where you are tolling, you have a toll gate, and whoever comes in must pay, whether vehicle or even anybody that comes to a supermarket or whatever. You have a way of tolling a gate or an entrance. Then you now said, okay, in a year, I project that 1 million people will come. And everybody that comes will pay 1 naira. So that's 1 million naira in a year or in a month. You can sell that cash flow that is expected. Someone may buy it as a form of garar, excessive uncertainty, and pay you that 1 million naira today, hoping that the number may jack up to 1.5 million. But it's possible only 500,000 will come. In COVID-19 year, for example, if someone has sold his cash flow for the year of COVID-19, how much will he get? And that is uncertainty that Sharia does not allow. It's an excessive garar. So anything that will make you lose money as a result of entering into a very risky business that is full of uncertainty, ambiguity, then it should be a no-go area. Let's move to the third one. Can you remember what is the third one? Al-Maisir. Al-Maisir means lottery, betting, gambling. You all know, a Muslim must know that lottery, betting, gambling is haram. If you know that alcohol is haram, I checked Al-Quran Al-Kareem. In all verses where Al-Khamru, alcohol is mentioned, Al-Maisir was also mentioned. They are twins. Alcohol and gambling, betting, lottery, they are twins. In all of the verses, without an exception, wherever Almighty Allah says khamr, alcohol is haram, the next item to be mentioned is al-maisir. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرِ إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَنْ يُوقِعَ بَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْبَغْضَاءَ فِي الْخَمْرِ. So they are inseparable. If you claim to be a Muslim that doesn't drink, then why must you go and bet? That is the question. If you say your Islam has taught you to know that a Muslim does not consume alcohol, then please, that your level Islam must also tell you that betting, lottery, gambling of any nature is also haram. But let's look at modern ways of doing betting. Commercial insurance. What happens in insurance is pure gambling. It's pure game of zero game of chance. You want to contribute as little as 10,000 naira and claim a damage of 1 million for insurance company to pay. And why is the insurance company in business? Because it's planning towards you paying 1 million and not getting anything. So at the end of the day, one of you must lose what you have contributed. So it's a zero-sum game, and that is not allowed. Even sports betting, like I said, please, if you are doing that, know that you are committing haram. Sports betting must not be a business that you will go in as a Muslim. Financial derivative, this may be more technical, but one day you may be introduced to that one. If you hear of a market that is called forward market, futures market, what they do is pure gambling. It's a market that you come, you know, in Sharia, we have different ways of buying and selling. You may have your money, pay money when the asset or whatever you buy shall be delivered at a later date. It's possible in Sharia. You pay in advance. That's what they say. And it's possible also that you get the commodity you are buying, but you are not paying now. You will pay at a later date. That is what they call you sell or buy on credit. And it's possible that you cash and carry. You bring your cash and immediately you get the commodity. These three, you are free to trade in any one of them in Sharia. But you know the fourth one that has been introduced by Banu Adam? This is what is called forward futures. It's a market that you come, there is no price and no commodity. Can you imagine it? There is no price, no money, and no commodity is also available. And they will sell and buy. For example, Mala Alpha will envisage that by October, because I've studied happenings in the world, a barrel of oil will have fallen to $50 per barrel. But I'm doing another calculation from another angle, and I have a reason to believe that no, it will not be 100 that is it today. It will be $110. Then we will both come to that market and say, one of us will say, I want to sell 100 barrels. And another one will say, I also want to buy 100 barrels. But you know we have different prices in mind. And we are not ready to even take possession of a single barrel. They don't have in stock barrels of oil in futures and forward market. But what will happen at the date of settlement, that's what they call it, the date of settlement, is a matter of looking at what the market is saying. Is it that the market favors you and I will have to pay you the balance? Me, I have calculated that it will be 110. Unfortunately for me, it is 110 or 120. That's why Man Al-Aswar has a debt of $50 or $60 hard for every barrel and pay me. And if I made a mistake and that price fell to 40 or 30, I should know what should be the consequence. All what they will do is just to calculate and pay the difference in prices that we have speculated, mere speculation. So this is one area of performing or practicing medicine in a modern way that as a Muslim it should be a no-go area for you. Well, alhamdulillah, the issue, this is the last one. Know it as a principle in Islam. Inna Allah idha harrama shay'an harrama thamana. Please. There's no way Allah would say, don't drink this, don't eat this, and He will allow you to trade in it. I hope I'm communicating to you. There is no way, don't deceive yourself, that Allah will make something, consumption of anything, to be haram, and He will also at the same time allow you to buy and sell the same product. No. The Prophet said, whatever Allah has made haram, He has also made haram any amount of price or cost associated with it. So please know that as a Muslim, you are free to trade, but don't trade in what is prohibited. That is why I use the example of you cannot trade in alcohol, you cannot trade in pig, you cannot trade in pork. Anything that you know has been declared as being haram in Islam, that cannot constitute a subject matter of your business. Well, I will have to stop here because of time. Alaykum salam.
Organizers through the program or looking for each resource person at the tail end.
But you see, as you can see, out of the 21 slides that I have prepared for you, I could only run through 13 of them. Is it up to 50%? It's more than 50%, alhamdulillah. At least more than 50%. But I promise you, I will leave this one for you so that you can benefit from it. And if you have questions, you can find ways of asking. Sheikh Al-Asar is here with you in Lagos. I am not a Lagosian, but if you travel down to Ilorin, you can also have that opportunity of asking me. So I will leave the slides with you for the benefit of all of you. The risk management that I promise you, there is risk management in Sharia. You don't just do business without finding a way of managing your risk. How do you do risk management in Sharia? It's part of what you will find in the remaining slides. May Almighty Allah make what you have listened to today and what we shall be listening to for the rest part of the program, make it beneficial to us in this life and in the next one. As I said, I pray that Almighty Allah make today's program, each and every one of us, make it for us our path to fortune. Inshallah ta'ala, and Allah will answer our prayer. I'm aware, and I even asked, who is footing the bill for this program? Because in programs like this that we attend, I know people usually buy tickets to attend. It's not a general public lecture. But wonderfully, your sisters and brothers, Kauthar and others, they wrote it clearly that this program is free, 100%. May Almighty Allah reward you all. May He enrich you more. May He replenish all whatever you have spent. But please and please, let us try to replicate a good gesture. I know some of you here are richer than all of them. I know some of you are in the same category with them in terms of financial and economic status. Please, without you being asked, they are not asking. They have not asked you to subscribe, which ordinarily they should have done. Ordinarily they should have done. Do you know that I flew to this place and I will also flew back to my destination? Because I told them it will be difficult for me to come by road and deliver lecture and still go by road. And I have almost found a way of even contributing. My ticket they bought, unfortunately the Highland cancelled the ticket. I had to buy another ticket on my own to be able to attend to them. So try to support them too in your own way. That is what will encourage them. I learned this is the second edition they are doing. Do you want this one to be the last edition? Say it loud. And then if you don't want to be the last one, you have to encourage them. Whether now or find ways of contacting them. I think it would be good if they can also give us an account number or account details. That voluntarily, without you being asked, please let us try to find a way of sustaining good ideas, beautiful ideas like this. May Allah accept whatever all of us spends in this course, in his course. May he make it acceptable to him as an act of ibadah and replenish in manifold whatever we spend in his cause. هذا والله أعلم وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Yes, for someone that uses glasses, can I read it? Can I keep my gold or dollars in when? Okay. We'll have question and answer session. Playing football as means of livelihood. Very good. What's this? Means of livelihood.
Or side also.
What side also? That's your language.
Someone does by the side and
Okay, okay. Okay.
I have a question. I think I'm really speaking for the members of the audience. The question is how do we, for example, we talked about savings account. You know, how to savings account where you get paid interest at the end of the year. So people are actually deeply involved in some of this. How do these things actually bring those to you?
How can they?
How can they get out of these things that Windows Reader and not Windows Reader? Some of them are already linked into this. And for example, people that have savings accounts, are they supposed to stop using those accounts? Are they supposed to close it down or what? So I'd like you to speak on that. And after answering the question, I will pass the mic to one person from the one side and one person from the other side. And we will have pictures. After the pictures, we'll go for Salah inshallah. The last one of the lecture.
Thank you, Apatai. So we should answer your question now. Alhamdulillah. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi. Having a savings account in a conventional bank where they will pay you an amount of interest, either monthly or weekly or annually. Okay. Okay.
Emergency, please, if you have your car, this is the plate number of your car, please listen carefully. An ambulance was from you this jump out now, so we have to be back it so can KRB 761 JC Camry, okay? Toyota AAA 288HU, again, Toyota AAA 288HU. Second is KRB 761 and it's a Camry. The third one is EKY 734EZ. EKY 734EZ. The last one is FFA 410AY. FFA 410AY. Please help us with that because an ambulance is absolutely this environment. Thank you very much.
So as I was saying, savings account in any conventional bank means you have an arrangement for interest to be paid. Now the question is, you are already operating such an account. How do you get out of it? The same way you will get out of anything that is haram is to avoid it. And luckily enough, if you are avoiding it, you have more than one alternative. The best alternative for you, if you still want to operate a savings account, is to go and open that same account with an Islamic or non-interest bank. And alhamdulillah, there are many in our environment today. It's not only that, there are about 4 or 5 of them now operating on the soil of Nigeria. They also operate savings account on the basis of what I told you here, on the basis of Mudaraba. And this is a good opportunity of explaining this too, because some people are also worried that even on this Jais Bank, Lotus Bank, Taj Bank, Alternative Bank, they are also sending me something as a increase of my deposit. Yes, you are entitled to that one, because they are operating their own savings account based on Mudaraba. And that is why you will see that what you earn, what you get every month is not static, it varies. That is to show you they are implementing Sharia. It's not guaranteed, it may not even come at all. It's only when they gain something you've already had. Some of you don't pay attention to that, but in your account opening form, it's written there, the formula that you have signed, that mostly some of them will do 30-70. Some of them are doing 60-40%. Meaning that if we have 10,000 naira, we will take 6,000 and we give you 4,000. Or we take 7 and we give you 3. So that is the best way out if what you like to operate is a savings account. But for if you have one reason or the other, you are unable to open an account with a non-interest bank. I know what I'm saying, because I know most of you are operating salary account, and sometimes it may be difficult. They may make it difficult for you to move your account, but banks will not like that one. They have a way of getting the deal with whoever is in charge of your account to create a bottleneck for you in moving your account to an Islamic or non-interest bank. Then you have to take the lesser evil. What is the lesser evil? Is for you to change to a current account. Nobody can force you to operate savings account by law. You are free to say, I'm closing this one, and what I want to operate with you is a current account wherein my money is guaranteed and I'm not going to be paid any percentage of interest. So, but primarily what we should do is to abstain. And that is what Al-Quran Al-Karim has asked you to do. In one of the verses that I referred to, Allah said, فَإِن تُبْتُمْ, if you are ready to repent, to seek Allah's forgiveness by stopping taking riba, then what should you do? What you do is فَلَكُمْ رُؤُوسُ أَمْوَالِكُمْ. Take your capital and leave whatever is interest. لَا تَظْلِمُونَ وَلَا تُظْلَمُونَ. In that way, you will not be cheated. Nobody will deal with you unjustly, while you also will be fair in dealing with others. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. When are we breaking for Salah? It's already past 1.
Okay, so
Now, you organizers allow others to ask questions. Unless if you are representing them, as Afatai said. He claimed to be talking on behalf of.
No, one.
One for now.
The first one is
The first and only one for now.
So, after personally, my own business, so we have companies they request for alcohol, but that is the deeper one. That's the one we use for sanitation. So they just use it for cleaning of the work plan. So like that one, the companies from where they are assessing the billing. So how do we affect our
Is this one also working? You can keep the microphone down there. That's a very good one. Jazakallah khairan. It's a misunderstanding that we need to clear. You know, there is a principle in Sharia, in interpreting Sharia authorities. There is what we call iqtida'u an-nas. There is what we call iqtida'u an-nas. That sometimes a meaning will be hidden that must be read into an authority for us to understand it. For example, when Almighty Allah says, حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ أُمَّهَاتُكُمْ حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ أُمَّهَاتُكُمْ. When we are to translate this verse literally, do you know the meaning? Your mothers are haram for you. Your mothers are haram for you. But there is something that must be read into that text, and that is the intention of Almighty Allah. What is that one? That must be necessarily marrying your mothers. Marrying your mothers is haram. That is the intention. Any other thing for you to do that one in relation to your mother is not haram. The same thing is when Allah says, Al-Khamuru, alcohol is forbidden for you. What must be necessarily read into that one is to say consumption of alcohol. So this is a way of interpreting Sharia authorities. We have what we call Dalalatun Nas. We have what we call Isharatun Nas. We have what we call Ibaratu An-Nas. This one that I am using to explain your question, to answer your question, is known in Sharia that Allah may say something that you need to read something else that is not categorically mentioned in order not to misinterpret, in order not even to miss the intention of Almighty Allah in that particular authority. So what is haram in essence is to consume alcohol. But if you have a way that is necessary for you to use alcohol, like the issue of sanitation, for example, majority of scholars in the world are of the opinion that alcohol physically is not najis. It's not impure. And that is why we can use them for some other purposes. That is why some of them, they allow during the COVID-19 era. In fact, the Islamic Fiqh Academy in Jeddah had to pronounce that if you don't have non-alcohol based sanitizer, if you are forced to use alcohol based, it is not haram, it is not impure for you. It is for that reason that what is haram, what is prohibited with respect to alcohol is consumption. So my dear brother, if your own line of business is not in selling alcohol for the purpose of consumption, then you have no problem in your business. Alhamdulillah.
Now, talking about parents, I'm very sure we can't take any of those things. He's answered the questions already. Perhaps after Salah, we are going to convene here and we'll still answer the questions, inshallah. So now, we have to move on to the beach of steps, of the backdrop there. The steps is going to teach us. Now, we want the brother from steps to do the teaching. The brother from steps is one of the things. Exactly how Steps. What's the brother?